So now let's talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars, because I feel like there's nuance in here, because especially after Monday night's game, there's a lot of finger pointing of like, okay,
there's no nuance in how bad they suck, Tom.
Where's the problem, right?
Yeah.
And I think the answer is, where do we want to start? We were talking about heading into this season, looking at coaching and saying, not sure if that's the right fit, right? There was already questions about that because they had an epic collapse last year. I know Trevor got hurt, but they had an epic collapse last year. The defense did not look good. I was just watching that Bills game. I legitimately, this is not even trying to be facetious, I was asking in the chat, I was like, is it just me or the Jaguars don't even look like they're moving on defense? Like, it just looked like they were going in slow motion. It was bad. Maybe that's just because Josh Allen's so quick, but man, it did not look good. The defense doesn't look good. The offense is abysmal.
Yeah.
It is really bad. Trevor is not playing well. The offensive line is not blocking for him, right? The run game, ETN, dude, I was so excited for Trevor, especially this season. Like, okay, like maybe we're going to start getting things going. And it's just nothing is working. Nothing is looking good. It is the point differential was horrendous on Monday night. They look like they scored right after at a halftime. I was like, oh, okay, maybe they can get something going. Nope. Yeah. Mac Jones eventually comes in. He fumbles the ball. Like it was disastrous. And the problem is I don't even know where you start because you haven't won. The saving grace they have is that their division right now is not doing the greatest. Sure. The Colts, they just won their first game. You know, they're still trying to figure it out with Anthony Richardson. The Titans haven't won a game, right? And the Texans, they were able to they just lost, but man, like it's I'd be panicking more because I don't even know where you start. To fix that.
You don't start somewhere. It's all bad. Everything is bad. Everybody is dying. They're all in pain. And it's a tough look right now for all the Trevor Lawrence truthers out there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Trevor Lawrence dialogue on X this offseason. And don't get me wrong, he
needs to play better.
He made a lot of throws last year that say weren't caught by receivers. But in this game specifically, it was Buffalo was already dominating. And if Jacksonville wanted any fighting chance, they had to drive and score. And Trevor just airmails that ball. I don't even know who he was targeting. Just throws it over his receiver right into Damar Hamlin's belly, right? Just like gifts the opposing team the ball. And he had time to throw it. It wasn't like he was forced to make a play, and it was just an inaccurate throw. And you can't fucking have that if you want to win games against good football teams. And I feel like we're holding on to this idea that Trevor Lawrence is the quarterback who came back to beat the Chargers in that playoff game.
Yep.
And maybe he has that in him, but he is also still the quarterback who was part of all those turnovers that happened in the first part of that game that helped the Chargers get there. And I heard the announcers on Monday night, they referenced that game. They're like, the Jaguars need to do what they did in the second half against the Chargers. I was like, that's not true. The Jaguars need the Bills to turn into the Chargers in the second half of this game, or there's going to be no chance at all Jacksonville can win it. And I think Trevor has all the talent. It just, for whatever reason, maybe he's another example of like a different situation. He can have success, but I don't know. I'm not seeing it consistently from him. I think that's the problem. He's not consistent.
I don't think he's the whole problem there, right? He got sacked 5 times, and ETN like wound up having a good night at the end of it. Like Ridley was targeted a bunch, but it seems
Ridley.
Like
what year are you living in?
What?
You said Ridley was targeted a bunch.
Yeah, Calvin Ridley. You good? You know the wide receiver who signed with the Jaguars?
He plays for the Titans now, my friend. I'm just double checking to make sure I'm not the dumb one.
Oh my God, I'm so dumb.
I got him! Tom's turning into me!
No.
Tom's turning
You know what
into
it was?
me!
Because I literally did this.
Yes.
I was like, this doesn't look right. I literally didn't even look at the score. I just typed in Jaguars, Bills, ESPN, just pull up the box score. And I was like, wow, ETN had a lot more yards than I thought he did. Oh, all right. Ridley.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Hey.
That was good.
This is how I'm so not confident in my own brain. I had to double check to make sure.
Hold on. Because that's the game I want to look at, ESPN, of course. I don't want to look at the last one that just happened on Monday.
Dude, that happens with ESPN.
Bro, it's not even the first 3 weeks.
They got to figure out their SEO shit because sometimes they give you last year's game as your top search result.
I literally was just like, I didn't think ETN had over 100 yards. Wow, I guess I was wrong. I was watching a different game.
You know, the only guy who looks really good in Jacksonville right now is rookie receiver Brian Thomas.
Brian Thomas looks good. Yeah,
they found a stud in Brian Thomas.
This looks a lot better now. Okay, yeah. All right, so it wasn't 5.
Let's just end the show. This is fucking perfect.
Good God, man. It's like you said. It's Wednesdays, my dude. I was like, wow, I should have just looked up at the score, but I was like, no, ESPN's going to give me the right game. Nope, they are not.
Yeah.
They are not. Anyway, what I was going to say about the Jaguars last year, and this was the problem before they had their monumental collapse, is I remember vividly every single power ranking going, all right, maybe this is the week their offense is going to put it together, right? Like maybe it's this one. We were talking about Trevor Lawrence MVP. We were talking about, okay, they had Calvin Ridley. They had Christian Kirk. They had, ETN. Like we had all these pieces of like, all right, here we go. We're going to get it going. And it just never looked like a complete football game. And so then you come into this year, and I think the expectations are lower, but the pressure is significantly higher because they're like, okay, at some point, they do need to put this together.
Yeah.
And I think you look at the problem with the Jaguars, too, is like they've looked at Trent Baalke for a while, and they're like, I don't really like what I'm seeing here.
Sure.
You look at how the team has been constructed. You're looking at coaching. And I think that all of those things are coming to a head now, in which it's like, okay, well, Trevor Lawrence's talent has been able to, kind of brush away some of those concerns. And now with Trevor Lawrence not doing as well, the offensive line is not doing great. If they can't rely on any other support, it's going to look bad because they got their ass kicked. And it is only heading into week 4, sky falling, what have you. They looked really bad. They did not look good against the Browns, right? And the Browns are also just not a good football team. And we're kind of putting this all together. And I think that while Trevor Lawrence is part of the problem in Jacksonville, I think it's another example of like, it's a tough situation because I don't even know where you begin to go because okay, offensive line block better. You know what I mean? Like that's not just I need to fix this. We were talking about this, I feel like 2 weeks ago with really bad offensive lines. And it's not something that usually gets better as the season goes along, unless it's like, newer guys and they're able to gel a little bit more. I don't know, man. It's
Trevor's at the point though where he's got to compensate for some bad offensive line play. He's played long enough where he's got to start making up for that if like they want to use that as a reason they're struggling because they have talent. Like we don't go to the Jags roster and say they don't have any playmakers. It's not like the Panthers last season were like, there's nobody to throw. Like,
there's no one there.
Turns out there probably were some guys to throw to, but they just weren't getting the ball. And I think that's the secret. And I saw somebody on Twitter. Well, actually, Will told me about somebody on Twitter who said it, and then I think I saw it. You just need to use Andy Dalton as your movable quarterback throughout the league for the shitty teams to see how bad they're actually struggling. So Andy needs to go over to Jacksonville and play a game for them. Then we'll see. Is Trevor Lawrence the problem or not?
Yeah.
And I think all the bad teams get 1 week with Dalton, and then you learn. Where is the deficiency? Because if Andy sucks, then you just got to blow it all
That's
up.
how you know. It's literally like a health inspector coming in, and they're like, we'll see where the issues really are.
Yeah.